Hello, and welcome to the Become Your Magic Power Hour, where we meet right here every day from Monday through Friday from 7 to 8 p.m. in order to get our recharge, get our energy, get our refill. Just be reminded of all of our abracadabra, all of our power, all of our magic that we have inside, right? And so what I want to do is just come here so I can soul stir you. And I want you to understand what it means to get a soul stir. To get a soul stir only means that basically everything you need, you already have, right? Because you've come equipped with every single piece and part that is needed in order for you to operate and function. And so what a soul stir is basically thinking about all the things that we stir in life. And the reason why we stir it, the reason why we shake before serving is mainly because the ingredients that are in whatever that item is, whatever that product is, those ingredients begin to settle. And to settle means to kind of separate from itself, right? That everything that's in that milk is still in that milk, that everything that's in that ketchup is still in that ketchup. But as it sits, the vinegar can begin to separate, oil can begin to separate. And so the principle is understanding that sometimes in life, we need to shake ourselves up in order for us to be served into the world, in order for us to basically show up in our power, in our essence, in our, in our beauty. Hey, Brittany, how you doing? How you doing? So, like I said yesterday, I don't know what happened. When I went back, I realized that I actually was still going live, but for some reason, it wasn't showing up. And so I'm like, today, who cares, right? I'm just going to go that hour and let it be what it may. So as always, we wait until 15 minutes before I get on with the message. We were reading from 365 Days of Loving Yourself to Life, Becoming the Gift You Were Always Meant to Be, which you can find this book at PreciousPaulin.com. That is PreciousPaulin.com. You can also find it on Amazon, but I suggest you go to Precious Paulin so I can sign it. And hey, I can handle it myself right now, right? We call in recruits when we need it. So right now, I think I can deal with the load. So as I was saying, how has your day been, right? And so this beginning 15 minutes is about us celebrating and us sharing. So this is the time that we share with our friends, we share with our groups, we share with just the people who are actually on the journey with us. Because I found that the more of us that understand what we're doing, understand what our focus is on, the more we can celebrate one another, the more we can show up for each other, the more we can figure out what it is I can offer you, right? And so we need to share the moments in life that celebrate us, right? We need to make sure that our team, right? Our team are the people that God put in the story with you. So everybody that you are in a line with, everybody that you have a relationship with, have some form or something that you need or that they need from you, right? Because God is so intentional. And so becoming your magic is figuring out, why did God give you these relationships? What does these relationships represent? And what were they needed for? How was that relationship supposed to shake you up in order to help you see what it is that got you where you are? How is that relationship supposed to shake you up to help you basically see your strength, see your understanding, see your confidence, right? And so everybody that we come in contact with has something to offer us. If we can see our lives as a story being told, if we can understand that the ends justify the means. And so we're living a journey, not sure of where we're going and just how powerful our story is or how it's written. And so we got to trust the process. And we trust the process by getting up every single time, by recognizing that it wasn't meant to knock you down, but it was meant to give you something new, right? Something extra for your bag of keys, your bag of treats, right? Because eventually you'll come to a place where you need a master key. And the master key was found in those moments that you got shaken up. That master key was found in that relationship. You didn't know what the value was. That master key was found in that valley, right? It was going to unlock a door when you got to the place in which you needed it. And so sometimes we don't know why we got what we got or why we went through what we went through, but I can assure you that it's all in alignment to your assignment, and that eventually the ends will justify the means, and you'll sit there and say, oh, now I understand. I understand what all of that was for. And so life is about understanding that it was necessary. Life is about understanding that you are that magic piece that transforms your life. Life is about understanding that you are the beauty in the story. You are the most important piece in your story. You are the most important piece to your story, right? And so when we begin to show up with that magnitude, when we show up with that type of understanding, that type of focus, then life happens. Hey, Vivian, how beautiful lady, back at you. Hello, Janice. Hello, Queen. How are you doing? Vivian, you didn't miss too much. You're going to need a replay, but guess what? I just started. It may have sounded like I was going in deep, but we were only in the first 15 minutes. And we know in the first 15 minutes, I use this time to, first of all, celebrate the people who are on time. And so the biggest key is being able to be what? In attraction, right? In action for your attraction, meaning that showing up is how you get the credit. And so when I say this is we power up, right? Because God is the source. And when he uses me, I send out what I have. And then when you receive it, it powers you up. And then you send out what you have. And we begin to basically interject, right? And impact one another's life in positive frequencies in order to what? Create the story, right? In order to come together, because we understand it's a relay race. Somebody is relying on us. Because I showed up, you can show up. Because you show up, somebody else can show up. And that's how the domino effect is. Literally is waiting for you, right? And so we're always sitting around wondering who, what, when, and why, but you're the who, what, when, and why, right? You are the magic. You are the peace. You are what the world needs, because every time one of us show up with our light on, guess what? We light up the room. We light up that space that we're in. And so we can be intentional about our light. If we can understand that our light helps somebody find their switch in order to no longer be in the darkness, because you showed up with that supernatural type of understanding, right? Because this is the power hour, which we speak about becoming your magic. And magic is a supernatural force. So you are the supernatural force that impacts the world every time you walk into a room. You are the supernatural force that gets to be multiplied in people's lives. And so in this season, we get to decide what is the infection, what is the supernatural force in which we show up in the room in order to make the difference. What does that look like? And so that's what this power hour is all about. It's about us recognizing what our force is. It's about us understanding the power in our magic, right? Because what makes it such a supernatural force is the fact that you know that you have power, right? You know that you have power. And so the key is, first of all, acknowledging and knowing the power in which you hold. The second part is plugging in, right? Is plugging into somebody in order for them to get a little bit of your surge, right? In order to give them from your overflow. Because if I plug in and I plug in every single day, then I'll never go without battery, right? And I always have extra, because I know that where I'm going, I could get some more. Where I'm headed, I could get some more. Who I'm connected to, I could get some more. And so maybe in this season, you can start filling up, right? Filling up like we do those phones, like we do our cups. We refill everything, and now it's time for us to refill ourselves in order to be the power that is necessary to light up the world. The power that is necessary to light up the world. Because can you imagine that if there is darkness everywhere, and that is the complaint in the world today, then it's obvious that not enough lights have been put on. Not enough people are walking in their story. Not enough people are showing up in that essence that made them who they are. Not enough people have removed the shame to get in their lane, right? Not enough people are walking in that I am. Because we doubt everything it took for us to get here, right? And in doubting the journey is doubting the story, is doubting the power, because the power is born in knowing I got up. The power is born in being able to say, I am my magic. And so I no longer wait for somebody to show up and change my life, because God has already given me authority. Come on now, authority over my life to make the choices necessary so that I can what? I can respond to his yes. I can respond to God's yes. I can respond to that vision that I have. I can show up in the way that only I can to what? To be who I was called to be through those moments, through those lessons that I turned into blessings. Because I took the time to fall in love with myself. I went over the things that I could not change about myself. I decided that I was going to love me first. I was going to like me first, because then it would make it easy for other people to see what God already knew about me. I had to get in relationship with myself so I can no longer let those things and those places of shame bombard where I'm going, right? Because I understand that was the icing on the cake. That was the thing that was going to make you look so magical. See, because if the magic is in the change, the magic is in that thing that took place that made such a difference, right? That's where the magic is. And so you got to ask yourself, if you don't look different, if you don't stand up in that past, if you don't show people where you came from, how you got there, then how do you represent that abracadabra? If they don't know just how much you battle every day, right? Because we all go through that suffering in silence type of lifestyle, right? That's why I called this year Gaining Clarity into God's Favor, right? No more sis. And sis doesn't mean queen or queen. Sis means suffering in silence, because we all do that. We all pretend to be stronger than we are, right? We all pretend to forget about all of those moments that led us into the places where we got to see just how magical we were, just how powerful we were, just how necessary we were. And so if you can just go back over that time, honey, if you could just go back over that experience and look at yourself and say, how did I get here? How did I get to this moment in which I am waiting to see what will become of all of those valleys? What will become of all of those mountaintops, right? Because for every valley, there is a mountaintop. The reason why I know it, because it is the beginning. It is always the beginning. Because to go that high, you had to start that low. Come on now. There's always an entrance point to wherever it is that you're headed, right? And so those valleys was leading to those high pinnacle moments. But you had to go that way to understand the climb, to understand the process in a change. I love you too, Brittany. Hi, twin. Hey, boo. You got to understand that it was all necessary. And so how we show up in our magic, how we show up in our power, how we deliver ourselves, how we see ourselves as magical is how we are able to multiply our infection in the world. And so I want to show up so that we can multiply those parts of ourselves, right? So we can stop looking from our disadvantage point and start living in our advantage point, right? Because our advantage point is knowing we're adding to our perspective and our view of our life, right? A disadvantage point is always dismissing what it took to show up. And so when I look at my life as a disadvantage instead of an advantage, meaning somebody would trade to be in a position that you're in, meaning you don't even know just how powerful or just how special you are because of where you are, because perhaps you're looking at somebody else's grass. But in the whole time we look at somebody else's grass, we forgot to look at their book, right? The instructions that took to make that grass green. Because we'll say, oh, girl, your grass look good. But how many of us will say, how did you get your grass to look that good? We'll say, oh, honey, that house look good. But how many of us have the courage to say, well, how did you make your house look so good? And so God said that if we can have the courage, the humility, to ask for what we want, that we would not be denied one single thing. We would not be denied. Why? Because we understood that there was giving and taking in every part of relationships. And if I like something, that I didn't have to take it. I didn't have to sneak around. I didn't have to hide, but that God said that I had made y'all to ask for one another. I made y'all need one another so that you can show up in what you have and they can show up in what they have, and everybody can collaborate on the bigger picture that is me. I am love. That there is room for all of us at the top. That not just one of us is magical, but every single one of us is magical. We all have that special something, that special thing that makes us stand up. Hey, Tanya, how you doing? I haven't seen you in a while. Brittany, yes, Lord, honey. Brittany ain't having church, honey. She loved to come and have some church, right, Brittany? But yeah, but that's what it's about. It's about understanding that that's why we're here. So that's 15 minutes. Look, I gave you 15 minutes of just introduction. Has nothing to do with whatever the topic is today, right? Because the topic is self-love, right? We're still talking about loving ourselves. We're still talking about, in order for us to ignite that magic, in order for us to be able to show up in our power, in order for us to be that piece, right? That very special masterpiece, we got to know and fall in love with ourselves, right? And we got to get past the love until we're in like with ourselves, right? Because liking something is to be favored. Right? To become someone's favorite is to find the things that I want to like about me, you know? And so what's so powerful about our life, what's so powerful about who we are, is the fact that we get to dictate how we move, what we have, what we want, what we desire. And that's how magical it is. That it seems so simple, but yet it's one of the hardest things for us to do. One of the hardest things for us to do is to see the magic in our story. We spend so much time dismissing those things that we went through as if, you know, that thing is just, it just happened to me, right? It just happened to me. We dismiss it. But the thing is, you happened to it. And so until you tell your story, God will never get the glory. They'll never know just why they should celebrate your abracadabra, because they think that you just woke up like that. They think that it didn't cost you anything. They think that you didn't invest in where you are. But the storyline is what lets them know that the magic lied within who you knew yourself to be, that the magic lied within the relationship you had with yourself. Because when you love you, you're really loving God. Why? Because he gave you a special piece of him. And every other part of you is imperfect. But that God piece is perfected because he needs you to go through the imperfect positionings in order to mold that special God soul print that is going to deliver somebody else, right? I needed you to feel shame in order for you to feel empathy. I needed for you to understand what it was for you to be down, for you to be able to lift somebody else up. See, I needed you to go that way for you to be who I needed you to be, that it was already created. The end was written before the beginning. And so if it shows up like that, and that is the essence of how life is constructed, person by person and piece by piece, the question is, what are we waiting on to show the world just how much we hold? What are we waiting for to stand up in our story instead of hide underneath it, right? What are we waiting for to become less dense, to become those water walkers? Because we let go of the things that we cannot change, because we recognize that it is what catapulted us into our destiny, that it is what made us who we are, that it is what constructed our perspective, our heart spaces, the things that makes us our I ams, right? And so we got to start to nurture our gardens of thought, all of those seeds that have been planted over time, and tell ourselves all the beautiful gifts, right? All the beautiful treasures that lie within our story, that lie within the way you can touch somebody. Because the first time somebody looks at you, they're like, honey, she can't tell me nothing. And you need to say abracadabra. Abracadabra. Because it looks to you like I can't tell you nothing. But honey, I have a story for you. I didn't say you have to tell everybody, but I said you got to tell somebody. You got to infect somebody when you see that they look hopeless. You got to be willing to be courageous enough to stand up in your story when you see somebody looks defeated, like they feel like they can't go on. You got to tell them about that little girl or little boy who couldn't go on, right? I had to tell people all the time, listen, you can be loved. I've experienced molestation. I know what that feels like. I know what it feels like to feel unworthy, right? But to suffer in silence, right? To tell nobody of your feelings of unworthiness, but to show up every day pretending to feel worthy because of how you have to suffer in your story. We do it every day. There are some of us who go to homes to this day that doesn't rise up and meet us, that doesn't make us feel like we deserve this, or like life is giving us a chunk, right? A little piece at a time, not a chunk. Life is giving us bite-sized pieces, and we need the whole cake. But the thing is, we can't handle it all at one time. We can't handle it all at one time. We got to be intentional. Hey, how you doing, Bubba? How you doing? It's always exactly what I need. Yes, indeed. And so, as I was saying, let's see where we left off at, because the other day we left off at the introduction, the preface. So we're going to share a little bit of this preface because I want you to know what is the beginning steps to self-love. What is a daily guide that will wake you up every day, reminding you that is how life goes, that it is not a picnic in a park, that you are actually building yourself up to be qualified for what it is that you want, you desire. He said yes. But do you know what it costs? Do you know the requirement? Do you know what I have to equip you with so that when you get to the things and the places that you asked to be in, that you could stay there? Do you know that there is a pregame involved, right? That you don't show up to the championship without practicing, right? Without implementing practices that you want to make permanent lifestyles, right? And so everything we do daily is our practice. The question is, how permanent do you want the practices that you are doing daily to resonate in your life? And so if you don't like the way you look, guess what? You got the power to abracadabra it. Right before somebody's eyes, change the way your life is going by the seed of thought. That changes everything. It is the first step. It is the key to every place you are. How you think, what you believe, what you see for yourself, the vision that you have embedded in your being. That is exactly what you manifest, whether you believe it or not. Hat, you loving my hair tonight? Thank you. You see, this is my first ever hat. Look, I just made this hat today. Yesterday. Isn't it cute? I said I'm gonna give him a little bit of the other part. So anyway, here's the preface. To give love at any capacity, it must first be available. You can't give what you don't already have. It's time to give ourselves the thing that we spend our whole life longing for, God's agape love. When we begin to love ourselves in an unconditional way, we will then break the chains of allowing other people's conditions to dictate how we see ourselves. We will begin to make others see us through our eyes instead of their perspective. I love that quote. You teach people how to treat you, because without knowing your quality, you are sure to lose your quantity and ability to overflow. Every time you dim your light because you want to fit in, you lose quantity. Every time you tell yourself, I'm not worthy, you lose quantity. Every time you forget to show up for you, you lose quantity. Understand, not only are you worthy, but you deserve to live a life that keeps you expecting the great treasures of this world. If God bless you, it was because you deserved it. God is not into spoiling people. And if you don't believe me, ask around. Any great one that has lived and resembles a life you would love to experience has a story. They have a journey. I can almost guarantee you that if you walked a mile in their shoes, you would see why and how they deserve what God has done for them. So instead of considering yourself unworthy, work on becoming deserving by embracing the preparations and understanding to whom much was given, much was required. It's time to meet our requirements, to live the life of our dreams, because we first lived our lives in purpose, on purpose, by doing the work. We dated ourselves. Come on now. We disciplined ourselves, uncovered ourselves. How many of us need to date ourselves? You know what it is to date yourself? To date yourself means to, hello. It means to get in relationship. It means to find out what you like, what you don't like, what you're doing, what you're not doing, who inspire you. I mean, the things you want to eat. I mean, how many people know their favorite stuff? Their favorite color? Their favorite music? How much time have you really spent discovering yourself? Not in the company of others, but in the company of yourself. Do you have a sound that you are aware of because you know it started in you, with you, through you? Do you have that sound? Right? That's the part. Have we disciplined ourselves? Oh my goodness. We have not. Because you know what it is to discipline yourself? To discipline yourself is to, like we do every day. We know we have discipline. Why do we know we have discipline? Because we see it every single day. If you go to work, you discipline yourself to wake up by the alarm, right? You discipline yourself to take that shower, to get dressed, right? That's all disciplinary actions, right? Because you know that if I don't do this in order to structure this won't happen next. So we live a very disciplined life. But do we discipline ourselves for ourselves? Do we sit down and say, I want to write this book? And so while I have so many things that I'm responsible for, I want to start this business, right? I want to draw this picture. I want to start this art gallery, right? I want to start this business, this line, whatever it is that you got a desire to start. Have you disciplined yourself? Have you clocked into you daily, right? Because if you can clock into a job for 8 hours, you can clock into a TV show for an hour, you can clock into a live for an hour, right? You can mindlessly scroll through social media for hours, right? No credit. You're not getting any credit on that. Not one piece of credit are you getting. See, when I go to work and I clock in, you get credit, right? By the hour. Same difference when you're investing in the time in yourself. And so disciplining myself for my dreams means I wrote that on a vision board, but I got to sit down and say, well, what does it take? Okay, I got a picture of a house, but I know that that's not the magic part. The magic is that dash, how I get to the house, right? And so I have to discipline some actions to what? To get that mansion. I got to figure out what can I multiply? How much is that mansion going to cost a month, right? And how much is that house going to cost a month, right? How much is that business going to cost a month? And then what products do I have? Who am I? How many hours can I work at my job? How many books can I sell, right? How many things can I do to enforce that I can afford that mortgage, that rent, that thing, right? And so that's what discipline is. It's saying that I didn't just write it on my vision board. Oh, no, 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 no. I did more than just write it on my vision board. In order to what? To get what's on that vision board. I discipline myself in order to what? Get what that desire is, to write that book. I said I'm going to sit down for 30 minutes a day. Oh, wow. Could you imagine that you can probably write 2 pages in 30 minutes a day? And I'm being nice. I can write about 10 pages in 30 minutes a day because I'm just always talking. I'm always going. That's what works for me. So that will be easier for me to do. So I only say, if that wouldn't be easy for you to do, take 30 minutes a day and write 2 pages. In 365 days, you'll have a whole novel because you disciplined yourself. We deserve that. And so start thinking about those dreams you have and then discipline a plan to execute it, right? Use discipline to execute your plan is what I mean. So those are ways that we can show up. Uncovered ourselves. That's removing the shame and getting in our lane, right? Being able to uncover ourselves, right? I had to learn to do that in my marriage, right? I was married for years before my husband even knew that I had dealt with molestation. He didn't understand why. He just thought I was crazy with some of the things that I was doing. Why? Because we suffer in silence. We got so much shame attached to things that we didn't even do to ourselves. Can you imagine? That you're carrying a load of something in which you didn't even start, right? You picked up somebody else's baggage and you hid it in your closet and you hid it underneath that rug and you walked around looking crazy to the people on the outside looking in because they didn't read your book. So they didn't understand why you move like that, why you act like that. And to them, it was bizarre because in order for people to understand you, they got to overstand you, right? And you got to be willing to tell your story, right? Remove the shame and get in your lane. That's where that came from. My life. I had to remove my shame to get in my lane so that he could hear me, so that we can be married happily this many years later because of the communication, because I found a space to find trust in, right? To let that stuff go. What does my sound like? I don't even know for sure. See, that's the question we got to ask ourselves, right? What does my sound like? When you make the time to check in, God is always there. He's waiting on you. He said, I've noticed that you gave everybody else time. And you know why? Because I gave you breath this morning. I watched you all day. And you never gave you time, right? Because you thought that you were giving to everybody else and that was the way, right? But the thing is, when you give to yourself first, it automatically feeds everybody else because there is nothing like inspiring somebody. Inspiring somebody allows them to make the abracadabra moments, right, a reality in order to become their magic. So every time you show up, and even those storylines where people are telling you what they know about you, they really are fascinated by how you evolved into who you are today. They're fascinated by the fact that you can keep on getting up. They're fascinated by the effect of you. It's really fascination that you don't even see because you don't know how powerful you are. You don't know how strong you are. You don't know how equipped you are. You don't know how special you are, which is why I'm here to remind you of all of those things that make you who you are, of all of those things, all of those places that add beauty to your existence. My husband, what he said? My husband and I went through the same stuff. I'm trying to tell you. That's what that's the bottom line. That we deal with stuff all the time. And, God gives us journey buddies so that we can unload our burdens. Take that, unpack that bag, right? Trust somebody to help you carry that load so that you can let it go because you're carrying it for no reason. You're carrying it for no reason. And we got to stop carrying these things, sinking underneath the water. We do as if it's our fault every day. I'm telling you, I overstand that. Oh my God. It was like, oh, I don't want people to feel sorry for me, and I don't want people to judge me, and we got all these reasons and excuses that we give to close ourselves in, to trap ourselves, to isolate ourselves, right? But in that isolation, we never go through the transformation to be the butterfly that we were called to be. Because that isolation right there was you supposed to be passing that crap out of you, right? The stuff that you couldn't change, you were supposed to let it go so that could come out and cocoon you so that you can become the butterfly you were designed to be. And that is the piece that we miss, the cocooning stage. He didn't know till I let things between us get too far. We worked it out over years. But if I would have been vulnerable enough to let that shake out, he would have cried and healed with me. I learned. So I'm trying to tell you. I'm trying to tell you. So he thought that I wasn't sexually attracted for let's be honest, for oral sex, right? He thought, so these were things that he was putting on himself because of my scars, because of my suffering in silence, right? And sometimes we affect other people who we love because we're not courageous enough to share our story, right? We're so afraid of being judged, right? We're so afraid of being misunderstood, right? And then in the moment when I begin to tell more of my story, that is when my husband's eyes begin to well up and he began to cry and he looked at me and was like, man, I cannot believe who you are with what you've been through. He saw my magic. So I was so busy hiding behind the shame and the pain of what I experienced that to him, he couldn't even realize that I was magic because I changed into abracadabra, right? That I didn't allow those situations to hold me, but that I evolved into loving myself, right? Being who I am today. And so that magic moment is when you can free yourself of the shame and guilt that was necessary for who you were created to be, because that made me one hell of a mom. It made me one hell of a mom. Because the way I wanted to overprotect them, the way I wanted to do that was due to my experience. And so I am everything I am because that happened to me. God, what? Let's see. Let's go back up a little bit. I'm going to see some of that. It says, God sits up there and shakes his head at us. He gives us the breath and we sweat it every day. What about taking the time to stop and smell the roses? Just be present. That's what he wants for us. Jeremiah 29:11. I know the plans I have for you. Come on now. He just wants you to be present. He just wants you to be present. He wants you to know that I sent you that way because nobody could come out as graceful and as powerful as you did. That is your abracadabra. That's your magic. Who you became because of that thing is your magic. The light that you embody for somebody who's going to see you because you showed up as yourself. That's the magic. That is the spark you give. Precious Pauline, you are my lifelong journey buddy. God gave you to me. Oh, I love you too. Oh, I love you too. You are mine. Yes, the butterfly. Remember, you're the X factor when you flip your switch. Come on now. Somebody was on a 100-day countdown. I don't know why I'm so afraid to be judged. I laugh at myself over it. The shame factor is a big one for me, but I never feel like I've done anything wrong, yet I carry shame. Always, it seems. What's up with that? Let me tell you what it is. It is because we love. And I always say the who may kill you and the what will heal you. I think the shame is really attached to the who and not really the what. Because the what is so common. It's so common that when you share it, it becomes a Me Too movement, right? It's so common that when you share it, you realize that you were never alone at all. That God needed you to speak it out for you to realize who your tribe was. He needed you to yell it out so that you can release that, right? So that you can no longer be in bondage to that thing, right? He wanted you to yell it to free yourself, right? Because when I let it go out of my mouth, or I go in the bathroom and quiet, right? Because everything we release doesn't have to be on the top of a mountaintop, right? Because when I eat food or whatever it is that I speak, right? Whatever it is that's stuck inside, I release it out of this way or that way. How I speak this way will let me know how my stomach feels in here, how my soul feels, right? And so if I speak power and life, then you know that I'm healthy on the inside. If I speak negative and death, then you know I'm suffering on the inside, right? And I haven't either went to the bathroom in private, right? That's why that bathroom time is a private time for you to process that stuff. That is that alone time. That is that checking in, that clocking into me, right? Even if you went to the bathroom in that time that you had to go every day, every other day, right? In that time, you spend that time wisely. You let go as you let go. Release as you release, right? So if you're just doing a number one, you can release a whole lot quicker. I just want to release that thing that I was holding on, God. I want you to take it from me. I don't need to carry it anymore. It is yours. I don't want to speak it out my mouth. I want to let it out. I want it to cocoon me. I want it to become a part of the transformation for me to become that butterfly you have made me to be, right? I want that to become a part of that. And so that's that releasing. It's saying, God, I know I had to go through that way. I may not even understand why just yet. I may not even understand why you sent me that way just yet, Lord. But what I want to say is that I release it to you because I trust your process. And everything that you have done thus far, I have understood and seen the results and the evidence, right, of what that meant to me, what it evolved into. And so I got to celebrate that. So every time we go into those moments and say, God, take this from me, he will take it. If you really give it to him, if you really let it go, if you really decide that I have no idea what it takes for me to be who I need to be, because the word says that eyes have not seen, ears has not heard, nor have it entered into hearts of man what you have to bring. So I don't know why I had to go this way. But what I know is God is so intentional. That's what I know. Oh, thank you, Melissa. Yes, you're no. Who is this Facebook user? Thank you. Yes, you're the role model that I strive to be. Oh, the mom I strive to be. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. But let me tell you something. It took some stuff. It took a whole lot of letting go. My God, it took a whole lot of letting go. It took a whole lot of looking at myself in the mirror and saying, you are worthy. That for everything that was taken, God gave it back, right? For every story that you had to live in, you got to get the pen now. And so from the moment that God gives you the pen, the question is, what will you do with it? What will you do with it? You said that somebody controlled your life. You said that somebody dictated your whole future. You said they stopped you from showing up. Well, God said, I've given you the pen now. Show me who you can be. Show me what you can do. Show me how you can transform. Tell me what you believe. Let me know the power that you trust, that you occupy. Let me see you for real. Show them who I created you to be. Let them know that what they took you through was all because of my glory. That when you showed up, oh my goodness, you changed the whole story. That it all started from you. What does Melissa say? Sis, can we do 100 days to 2021 countdown, please? You called it as far as what 2020 was going to be about, and I'm excited for you and what you what you're doing on 2021. We need 100-day Precious Paula and pep rally. Listen, I got you, boy. I think I could do that. I loved it. It was so much fun. When I say, Melissa says, when you have kids, there is no private bathroom time unless you stuff a towel under the door to block the kids' hands. That is so hilarious because I got 5, so I know. They be like this. And they never get too old. And when you got a husband, honey, they not too. I'm just saying. People don't know what it is to be a queen. Everybody's grabbing. That's why I created the Queen's Refill Station. It's a pit stop for us. We need it. We need it because we move so effortlessly that we don't even acknowledge just how strong we are. Do you know what it takes to keep on getting up after what you've been through? They may not know, but you know your abracadabra because you got up. You're still moving. So while they don't know, you certainly know what it took for you to be who you are. Look, I only got to that little bit. You see how I go off on a rant 44 minutes in and I done ranted. Let's see. Okay, so we was at fed ourselves on all levels physically, Okay, so we uncovered ourselves, supported ourselves. We know what is support, right? To support means to give a great foundation. So you want to support yourself, make sure the foundation of how you see yourself is good ground. So that I ain't can be in a foundation of you supporting yourself. A foundation is solid. And ain't solid, just I am. So you gotta start to work on your I ams. Like I said, if you need tools for that, PreciousPauline.com. The ABCs of how special I am will give you I am for every day to help you make a supportive foundation for yourself. So we supported ourselves, fed ourselves on all levels, physically and spiritually, but most importantly, we loved ourselves. That is the gift that lies within. The gift of unlocking from conception that love that was given to us, our souls. When we truly love ourselves, we free ourselves to be the authentic gift we were made to be. I choose me, hashtag no more excuses, is the key to unlocking your soul and becoming the gift you were always meant to be. May these original quotes and prophetic poetry, complemented by amazing testimonies, help you unlock your soul and bring your gift. The universe is a puzzle, and you are a special piece, a masterpiece. The world is waiting on you, so let's get prepared to show up. And you'll go on the journey of showing up. Chapter 1 is, have you introduced yourself to yourself? Come on now. It's 7 chapters because 7 is completion. I didn't plan that. That's how it ended up. And so day 1, we're going to give you today before we go into the closing of this power hour. But day 1 is follow your intuition. It is your soul's compass. Learn to trust yourself so you can listen to the voice that is you. Learn to trust yourself so that you can listen to the voice that is you. So your intuition, meaning that thing that makes you make the decisions that you make daily. That intuition, that thing that lets you know yes or no, that we talk ourselves out of every single day. I can assure you that anytime something went wrong, it was never you saying, I should have listened to the other person. It is always you saying, I should have went with my gut. I should have went with my gut. So we go back to falling in love with ourselves. It's how we trust our intuition. We trust this phone, Siri, more than we trust our gut. And Apple has been around for how many years? How old are you? How long have you been a part of your own life? How long have you showed up for you? But we don't trust that compass, right? We don't trust that direction. But we trust Siri. And we'll ask everybody to lead us to our destiny because we have not taken the time to find out the instructions to us. We have not uncovered ourselves. We have not fed ourselves on all levels. We have not supported ourselves. We have not shown up for us. We have done a great job at showing up for the world. We have done a great job at showing up in our roles and titles. Because let me tell you, being a mom is an amazing thing to be. Being a wife is an amazing thing to be. Being a doctor, a lawyer, a sister, a friend, all these roles and titles, oh my God, they are amazing, but they are not your I am. They are the places in which you meet different souls on the journey to your assignment. That I am more than my roles and titles. That I am in purpose, that I am on purpose, that I am my magic. That I came for something greater than just being somebody's role and title. But I came to leave a soul print in this world of impact that will live beyond my breath. That my legacy will be proud. That they will know that it will require some struggle. And it may not be a financial struggle because that's my plan to help that financial struggle so that my kids won't struggle like we did. But I had to implement some practices, right? We have to implement our desires. We have to create a blueprint to get us to our destiny. And so this power hour is about you recognizing what you possess, what that looks like, just how important that thing is. Hello, honey. Just how powerful what you've been through is. How you implement it by what? By a daily affirmation, daily practices, right? Because they say practice makes perfect. And I say, no, it don't. Practice makes permanent. What are you practicing that is permanently showing up in your life that you do not like? Because guess what you have the power to do? You have the power to change your tomorrow by showing up today. That yesterday was the example of what lies behind you. I want you to remember, as I tell you often, I choose me. You see the image, you looking at yourself in the mirror, and you see how the image is. You can't even see yourself eye to eye, but I want you to hug yourself, and I want you to love yourself. I want you to celebrate yourself until you can look yourself in the eye and know that it was worth it, that you matter. And so when you look in the mirror today and see that you matter and remind yourself of that beauty, I want you to look in the mirror very closely. And what the powerful thing about the mirror is that when I'm looking at myself and I'm standing there, what I can see in the mirror is everything that's behind me. And so this is a prime example. Me looking into the camera, it's like I'm looking into a world of myself, right? I can't even see you guys. That's a funny thing, right? So this is like looking in a mirror. And so when I'm looking in the mirror, what's behind me that I can see clear without turning around? Can you see that? What's behind me, I can see clear without turning around. I know that face shirt is over here. I know because I'm looking in the mirror. And so what's behind you, God gave you a big mirror for you to look at yourself and recognize that you are in front of everything that's behind you. And everything that you need from here on out, you create, because there is nothing beyond you. That the next step is the best step you can ever make because you can see yesterday. And because you can see where you've come from, you have a different perspective on where you're going. Because this perspective is supposed to be, boy, look all of the stuff I got over. Look at all the times I got up. Dag, I'm victorious. Oh my goodness, can't nothing stop me. Abracadabra. That's how you feel when you really start to look at the stuff that you've done in your life. The levels that you've risen in your life. The person that you are today is because of that stuff that's behind you. And because you're in front of it means that you can create whatever destiny you want. But it starts right here. And so this power hour is about changing the way you think. Because when you change the way you think, you change the way you show up. You change the way your life looks. You change everything about you. You become your magic. And it almost looks like abracadabra. Now, you and I both know that it wasn't that simple, but when they look at you, it'll just look like magic. And that's what we want them to know, that when God is in relationship with you, your life is magic. When God is in relationship with you, your life is magic because he told you the secret about yourself that made you get up every single time. If Tyler Perry knew that he would walk into a studio when he was knocking down the door in Hollywood, that God was going to be able to put 2 Hollywoods and where he was sending him, do you think he would have went faster? Absolutely he would. But see, we don't know where we're going, and so we feel defeated. But thanks be to God that he kept on going. And so what have you felt defeated in that God needs to remind you today to keep on going? Today to keep on showing up. What have you did? What have you did? What have you done? What have you did? What have you done? And so we go into the part where we're ending because we're like 5 minutes in. And so y'all know that we always pull an I am affirmation card. Once again, these are the I ams, the ABCs of how special I am. Today, we're going to see what is the I am that God wants us all to know tonight before we lay ourselves down. When we look in the mirror, we want to know What is God saying about us today? So right now, we are speaking on basically having a foundation of love for oneself, being able to check in and clock into ourselves so that we can be who you called us to be, so that we can show up in our power and our magic. And so right now, God, I said, lead us to the card of the I am that you want us to have today. And you know what? This card turned. And so I'm going to go with this card. And come on now. God says, I am original. That's a whole world in itself. Too bad we only got 5 minutes, but I want you to understand that being an original is the greatest gift of all. Being one of a kind. How special am I? Well, I'm one of a kind. That is the greatest gift of all. You know why it's the greatest gift of all? Because being an original means there is no duplicate. It means that how you see it and how you show up is what makes you so amazing, so different than the rest, right? The thing that stands out, because God did not make us to be a duplicate. He made us to be an original God piece, a one of a kind, something that nobody else has, that nobody else can do, right? Though we've been through the same things, though we share in the same roles and title, there's one piece that is so unique, so perfectly made just for you. And it is that God piece. And all those imperfect moments that you have shame attached to is what creates that original perfect God piece. And so I want you to understand that that imperfection is what makes you perfect. I hate when I hear people say, I'm not perfect. Yes, you are. You are perfectly one of a kind, because if you are an original, then what would you compare yourself to not be perfected? You decide what original looks like. You decide what is your perfect being, your perfect place, your perfect piece, because you're one of a kind. And so if there's nothing to compare you to, how can you not be a perfect you? It's impossible. You are an original. And so I want you to look yourself in the mirror today and remind yourself just how original you are. How all those things may look like somebody, how you've been through things like somebody else, but your perspective on that matter is what makes you original. The way you got up from that thing is what makes you original. And the person who needs to hear that is what makes you an original, because you are going to be that original person who shows up with your light to get somebody into the positioning they need in order to show up with somebody for somebody else. That's how the world works. When you show up, somebody else gets to eat. When I show up, somebody else gets to eat. And if I plant a seed and you grow it and your tree gets some fruit and somebody eats from your tree, then that's how we multiplied our impact in the world. So every one person you touch that touch somebody else, God is giving you credit for that original piece of work. And so I just want you to know that I'm so excited to be sharing this power hour with you. Guess what? We are about to listen to our song. How many people know the words to? If you don't have the I Choose Me anthem and you want it, please let me know. I will email it to you. We are going to be able to play it tonight. As I said, this is the power hour. And at this time, guess what? It's giving time. And so, just as I have served you at whatever capacity, if there is any gift that you would like to give to me, I will receive it with all love. At this time, you can find anything in Precious Collections at PreciousPauline.com. If you would like to find the Abracadabra tool, right? To ignite that abracadabra, there are books, there are programs. You can sow a seed like that. If you would like to sow another seed, it doesn't always have to be financial. You can share. Oh my God, a share is one of the most profound seeds you can give, right? Because you at least will share whatever the message is. So whether you need it or somebody else need it, you shared the message. The other thing that you can do is 7 is my favorite number. And so if you would like to cash at me $7, put Abracadabra so I know that it came from the live. And I assure you that God will bless whatever you bless me with. $P words on Cash App. precious P words at AOL.com on PayPal. You can go to I Choose Me Bling Boutique. Anything you see, you can find there, and you can sow a seed in that magnitude. However you want to bless me to keep the fire burning, I will appreciate it. I thank you. It is better to give than to receive. And after I have given, if you would like to give back, please, by all means. So without further ado, honey, it's time for us to sing our song. Get my volume up. How many of y'all know the words? Oh, I thought my speaker was on. I was talking too long. My speaker went off, y'all. Let me get it back on. Thank you guys for spending this hour with me. Let me tell you something. It means something to me to not be talking to myself. I appreciate me showing up, and most importantly, you guys meeting me here. That matters, right? The way you check in and clock in, honey, what a difference the world can make. Found out. Come on now. Just where you could be. Ever. Is Melissa still on? She been dying to hear the song. What lies inside thee, all the treasures you were born with. The world needs to see. Hey, Mika, you the courage. Come on now, to dare to just be. I choose me. No more excuses. I choose. I'm original. I'm original, y'all. I own my stuff. No more excuses. I'm enough. More than worthy. I own my stuff. Have you ever loved yourself more than you can stand? Ever took the time to walk on uncharted land? Because you knew what you offered was one of a kind. If you never bring your gift, then what would we find? I choose me. No more excuses, y'all. I'm enough. More than worthy. I own my stuff. Have you ever dreamed that life would only bring joy? Only to discover that the pain brings you more. More of those questions answered. So what makes me great? When I learn to digest the good and bad on my plate. Come on now. No more excuses. I'm enough. More than worthy. I own my stuff. The secret is known that through all these things, after pain comes triumph. When you stay in your lane, you realize the lessons were blessings on the journey to you, because your purpose was found in the things you went through. I choose me. No more excuses. I choose me. I'm enough. I choose me. More than worthy. I choose me. I own my stuff. The gift is your story. And it's the shape of your mold. When you reach your purpose. A moment of inspiration is told. Love grows everything. Come on now. And all that you do, in order to give it out, it must first be in you. Your dreams will be fulfilled when you choose to walk in. Come on now. And the love that's inside will be the fuel for your flight. I choose me. No more excuses. I choose me. I'm enough. I choose me. More than worthy. I choose me. I own my stuff. And so that is what Becoming Your Magic is all about. It's about owning your stuff, turning your your dreams into your own reality, right? It starts in your head. And so I hope you have been blessed in this hour, right? This Becoming Your Magic Power Hour where we ignite our abracadabras daily. I celebrate you. I want you to remember that it is a relay race and somebody is relying on you. Remember our motto, which is I pledge to embrace who I am today, love who I was yesterday, and inspire who I will become tomorrow. Our mantra is the closer I get to me, the better I'm able to see who I was called to be. And the slogan is love grows everything, so love yourself first. Remember, you can never turn on anybody else's light, but you can provide enough light for them to find their switch. So stay lit in this world so somebody can find their way out of the darkness. I love you. I celebrate you. Remember, hashtag become your magic abracadabra. You are the I am. You are the magic that you are waiting for. Ignite it. Be great. Show them why God sent you, why He's given you breath today. All those things that you've been through means nothing until you stand up in your story, until you show people why you are the magic. I love you guys. See you tomorrow at 7 p.m. for our power hour. Will we have a guest tomorrow? I was waiting. Somebody may be on tomorrow. I'm not sure. But as I said, if you would like to be a guest on the show and telling us how you ignited your power, right? Your abracadabra, how you became the magic, please, please, please message me and let me know. And we can put you on one of the days. It's either a Monday, Wednesday, or Friday are the only days that we have the abracadabra guests, right? So I love you guys. See you guys later. Take care of your souls. Bye-bye.